Thank you for tuning in. Our next presenter is Steve Ehrlich, Chief Executive Officer at Voyager Digital. Mr. Ehrlich, you may begin.
Thank you very much, and thanks for everyone listening in and seeing our presentation about Voyager Digital. We're very excited about our business and looking forward to going through the slide deck with everybody and getting everyone up to speed on what Voyager is doing and where we're going. So we have our legal disclaimers. You can find this presentation on our website. So at your convenience, go through and read those disclosures that we have there. The thing about Voyager is the difference that we bring to the marketplace. You know, we call it the Voyager difference. There's some really distinct different that sets Voyager apart from the competition. And a couple of 5 key points on that we use internally. One is we have a very easy to use mobile and desktop app. At the same time, people are using that to trade in over 50 coins. They could actually earn interest up to 9.5% on various tokens as well. And we offer interest on over 20 tokens. So people can actually trade, customers can trade and earn interest all at the same time with no lockups and no minimums, no requirements. And obviously, we bring the biggest, deepest pool of liquidity to the marketplace because we're connected to more than 10 different exchanges and market centers. So we bring the deepest pool of liquidity and the deepest access in the U.S. for consumers to access the crypto market. Unfortunately, our slide was done a few weeks ago when Bitcoin was only 19,000, and today it's touching 40,000. So forgive us on that because the market is moving that fast, and you can see what the growth is in the business just from the Bitcoin. A couple of other things that we look at as why these are the investment highlights of Voyager, and there's 4 big ones: our massive market opportunity, the attractive business model, the infrastructure we bring to the table and what we do to support the business, and that we're trusted and transparent. And we'll go through these through the presentation. You know, the size of the market. Again, when we put this together, it was 580 billion was the crypto market. It's now over $1 trillion. And the gold market cap's $9 trillion. And there's many people that compare Bitcoin to digital gold. And therefore, the opportunity in this space is so much, you know, you can see that size of that opportunity to catch gold and then all the investable assets in the marketplace. So the opportunity for the crypto assets, Bitcoin, and all of them is quite large. And one of the biggest Bitcoin proponents is Anthony Pompliano. Anthony's quote is that Bitcoin's market cap will exceed gold's market cap by December 2029. I actually believe it's going to be much quicker than that, as we're seeing this mass adoption coming that has happened over the last six weeks and is continuing and starting to happen that we'll see over the entire 2021. Now, why are people investing in Bitcoin and crypto, and why do we think it's such a massive market opportunity? It's because the traditional systems are ripe for disruption. If you ever tried to move your cash on the weekend with a bank, have fun with that. It doesn't happen. You can't move cash from your existing bank to someone else over the weekend. It doesn't work. It doesn't operate. Just this past weekend, from our perspective, as our volume was significantly increasing, as people were wanting to buy more and more Bitcoin and other assets over the weekend, we have to move assets around the globe. We had no access to our cash, so we had to be able to move our cryptocurrencies like USDC stablecoin in a really fast manner. So the digital markets are available 24/7 with no borders, while the rest of the traditional financial systems don't allow you to do that. And if you really don't believe Anthony Pompliano, how about Ben Bernanke, you know, the ex-chairman of the Federal Reserve, the virtual currencies, his quote, virtual currencies hold long-term promise. That's where we see this market. We think there's more and more adoption. It's a much more efficient payment system and movement of money, and we're getting more and more people joining this evolution of cryptocurrency. Now, many times we look at our own business and we project out our path to get to 20 billion of customer assets, you know, and we have some metrics to do that. We started the year with 40,000 accounts, and the average account size was, you know, 4,500. We've seen that grow now over the first couple of weeks of January significantly, but just on a standard, you know, growth rates, we will get to 20 billion by 2025. We actually expect that to happen faster now as we see the adoption just escalating and happening faster than we actually thought. And where are we today? What we most recently announced was that we had $265 million of customer assets just the other day. We have over 50 trading assets, and we interest bear over 20 of those as well. Again, these numbers are about a week old, and the market's taking off, and we're seeing more and more adoption, more and more customers come on our platform, more and more net deposits on our platform every day. Additionally, we're regulated in the U.S. We filed for an exemptive relief with the Ontario Securities Commission, and so we can enter in Canada by the end of March. And we've also acquired an entity in France called LGO that gives us a PSAN license and allows us to enter France and enter Europe, all with the anticipation of doing it in, sometime in July or August. A couple of things about the company and our timeline, where we've been, where we're going. We got publicly listed in the first quarter of 2019. We did 2 acquisitions over our first year in business, acquiring Ethos, which was an IP infrastructure to allow us to do crypto transfers and allow us to move coins quickly in and out between customers to exchanges. And then we acquired the accounts from Circle, which was one of the first movers in the crypto space as they decided to go into the payment world and develop their USDC stablecoin, which is a US dollar-backed stablecoin. They sold their retail accounts to us in the first quarter of 2020. It was a jumpstart for us as we continued to grow our business, and you could see just the growth in the AUM. In the third quarter, we had $150 million of AUM, and we're now at $265 and growing. Why is it an attractive business model? We gain customers for 4 main reasons. We get the pure Bitcoin consumers that want to buy Bitcoin and hold Bitcoin. Then we've got the altcoin seekers, so any of the other 50 coins that we have, they can trade actively through our really intuitive and easy-to-use platform. Then those who also want to be yield seekers with us, because we offer interest on over 20 coins. They will bring their Bitcoin over from other places, hold the Bitcoin with us, and earn up to 5.5% on that. Also deposit cash with us and earn up to 9.5% on their USDC-backed stablecoin. So we get a bunch of yield seekers as our customers as well. And then there's the cost-conscious investors. Based upon our pricing of Bitcoin and what we charge, we're a no-commission business, although we do charge a spread in the trades, and our spread on Bitcoin averages around 50 basis points, where some of the competitors in this space are 2% or greater in buying your Bitcoin. So we have 4 different customers and types of customers that come use our platform. The model has, a compelling investment opportunity here because we've seen significant revenue growth in our business. December of 2019 to December of 2020, we grew our business from about $20,000 of monthly revenue in 19 to about $1.7 million in the month of December 2020. That's a $20 million run rate, and we're seeing increases in that now in early January as well. At the same time, our assets went from $5 million of customer assets at December 2019 to $265 million at the end, just last week. So that's a 53 times increase in the assets. We've got very favorable unit economics that we will show in acquiring customers, and we're really using our infrastructure and our leverage to continue to grow and grow our revenue and customers. The different ways we make revenues, the multiple revenue streams that we have. When we started the business, most of our revenue came from the spreads on the major coins, the top 5 or 6 coins. We started to add more coins into the mix, and we're seeing more and more of our revenue come from some of those alternative coins these days, as we are the most efficient place in the United States to actually trade those coins. We also earn a bunch of our revenue from the interest side and from our interest program, where we lend out the coins very much like securities lending. And then a little bit of our revenue comes from listing fees. The interesting thing about our model is that, we're seeing these deposits increase every day, 1 million plus at the end of December, and that's increasing. So the significant drivers on the revenue really are the spreads that we earn on the trading revenue, and how we earn money on the interest side of the equation. Now, it's a pretty simple model from a math perspective in that as our assets grow, our trading volume tends to be between 0.75 to 1.25 times a month. So if we have 265 million of assets, 75% of that will turn over on the low end, up to at least 265 million on the high end, and we earn on average about 60 basis points on all the principal value that's been traded. So that's the trading side of the revenue model. And then the asset side of the model, we earn up to about 4.5% per year on our entire AUM. So you can see how we can make money on both the static assets and the trading side of the world. And so the key to the model is actually growing the users and growing the assets and getting them into the ecosystem very effectively. So today, we've been growing the customers at about a 20% month-over-month growth, and we've been doing it on a really cost-effective manner, whereby through December 31st, for the year ending December 31st, 2020, we're acquiring customers on about a $35 CPA basis and generating $20 of monthly revenue against those accounts. Now, we're starting to see that cost for account acquisition decrease while our monthly revenue per account is actually increasing. Very effective marketing model that we have with the two-sided revenue model of asset gathering and trading. It's a real differentiator in the marketplace. Yes, so as mentioned, we've seen our assets grow 53 times from the 5 million at December 2019 to where we most recently announced. Same thing on our principal value traded. We saw 3 million traded a year ago, a little over a year ago, to 150 million traded in the month of December. Again, it all points back to us growing customers, growing assets, and growing valuable customers into the ecosystem. And again, how do we get them? We acquire our customers through a really interconnected system, and through the acquisition experience that we bring to the table. We started the business 3 years ago, and we set out with a path with building customers through a content marketing strategy, which has been really effective. Between that and the social media was our initial foray into marketing, whereby we use partners such as Market Rebellion, which is run by John and Pete Nigerian, as a way to get our product out to consumers. We work with companies like Trade the Chain on their podcast and Digital Asset News and their podcast, along as other influencers like Benzinga to help us really grow social media and content. A lot of those partners take our digital content that we create a couple of times a week and distribute it out to their consumers. So we get a bang for our buck on the content side of the world. But most recently, we hired a head of digital marketing. She started November 1st, and we got into the actual paid ad spending in December, and we've been very, very effective on that. And the last piece of the puzzle is we get significant influencers. We've added some crypto influencers, so some sports world influencers, and they've been very effective in bringing us a low cost of acquisition customer. The competitive landscape, it's always a question we get. How do we differentiate from the landscape? Well, we break this landscape into about 7 or 8 different parties. Some of them are exchanges where they have less coins than we do. Some of them are lending platforms like a BlockFi, where they're lending coins with very little trading. So we look at the landscape and we say we have the deepest pool of coins, the most interest-bearing assets. We don't charge a commission. We have no exchange affiliation on routing. So we choose where to route the trade based upon our pool of 10-plus exchanges and market makers to give the customer the best possible execution we could find at that point in time. And the last piece of the differentiator is that we're publicly traded. So customers get comfort in who we are, our business practices, our financial statements by having audited financial statements on an annual basis, quarterly financial statements up on SEDAR each quarter, and it gives customers a lot of comfort that they know who they're dealing with and their assets are safe and secure. Where are we going with the business? Well, we've already launched our beta on desktop. We'll come out with the full version of that out of beta by sometime the end of January, early February. We're working on a debit card to allow people to invest into the USDC stablecoin, earn their 8.5% to 9.5% interest, and then use that money on a day-to-day basis by using a debit card. It's really effective. It's one of the most common products that customers are asking us for. Additionally, we're working on a margin product. We're partnered with John and Pete Najarian, as mentioned, and we're going to bring an equities-type product to the platform, too, that will allow consumers to use Bitcoin or USDC to buy equities. And then we're going to look to grow from a top-of-funnel perspective on the international side. We're working on that license with the OSC in Canada, and we have the licensed broker-dealer in Europe, in France. The scalable infrastructure is also what sets us apart and allows us to do what we do today in a really efficient manner. The Voyager everybody sees is the mobile app, our new desktop app, and then APIs that allow us to connect our market data and system to partners like Market Rebellion's execution, Sterling Trader Technology and their 10,000 active traders around the globe. That's the part that people see, but really what sets us apart is the part that people don't see. It's the market data and pricing. All this has been built in-house. Our market data and pricing engine, our order management systems, our routing and custody and security, and it's all regulatory compliant. We work within a regulatory compliant infrastructure, but it's all homegrown. It's the enterprise value that we've created for Voyager in putting a crypto system in place that's really hard to do. It takes time. It takes real knowledge and know-how about the crypto ecosystem. You know, and the tech is innovative. What we've done is built a custody and security system by using multiple custodians. We have a little bit of custody on our own platform, but we use some of the biggest custodians across the globe, whether it's BitGo or Ledger. We use their systems to help us and put the custody of coins in various places like that. Liquidity execution, the smart order router we've built connected to the multiple exchanges and allowing us to get the deepest pool of liquidity across the board and allow customers the best execution possible. And that's by us connecting to exchanges and OTC desks and market makers. And then a deep pool of assets that customers can take advantage of and earn profits across multiple coins, not just one or two. We are a trusted and transparent platform. And what do we mean by that? One is we're an independent brokerage model. We're not connected to one exchange. We are, as I said, multiple across the board. We're working towards our SOC 1 and SOC 2 certifications, and we brought on a new CFO, recently in the last 3-4 months to help get us there. Publicly traded, as we talked about, and then some of the partners that we work with, some of the biggest in the business. We talked about Ledger and Fireblocks and BitGo. We work with Coinbase on custody and execution. And when you look at this list of names, these are some of the biggest names across banking, crypto custody, crypto execution, KYC. It's some of the biggest names in the fintech industry. I'd be remiss not to talk about the founding group and how we brought the group together. The group started about 3 years ago. We got together 3.5 years ago. Myself, Philip Aton, and Gaspard Dedruzzi. Philip and Gaspard are serial entrepreneurs. They started companies like TradeIt and Pager and Secure, and which are billion-dollar companies in their own right as private companies right now. But then we also had Oscar Salazar as part of our founding group. Oscar was the founding CTO of Uber. So if there's anyone that knows a lot about disruptive mobile technologies, it's Oscar. He's brought so much to the table with us in getting our products to market in a scalable way and how to be disruptive in the space. Our executive team, outside of myself, we have folks that come from E-Trade, Gerard Hanshy and Jens Barrio were working with us at E-Trade, and just the depth of the team across the industry brings us capital markets experience while we're working on a crypto project, crypto broker with the capital markets experience. And some of the catalysts to how we're going to grow in the future. We're first and foremost focused on execution. Everything we've said we would do, we've started to execute, and we're executing the game plan. As part of that game plan, we want to bring expansion across the board on the product by increasing our coins, bringing a margin product to the marketplace in the second half of 2021. We want to bring traditional advisory products to the marketplace and debit cards, as mentioned, and we're working on a credit card product as well, so we can bring more financial products to the ecosystem, to our customer base. International expansion, I touched on that. We're going through the OSC to get exemptive relief in Canada. We're working with LGO and the acquisition we did in France to bring a fully regulated entity into the European market. All this will help our top of funnel and acquiring more customers and getting us more and more assets, which on an annual basis, we earn about 10% is our revenue target for assets as we grow. So 10% of our assets become our revenue number. That's how we look at the business. So we're trying to get more and more customers and AUM on our platform. You know, we think there's mass consumer acceptance coming. It's already started. By what the numbers we see in January, we see this consumer confidence in Bitcoin. You know, we see more and more people investing in this alternative asset, and we expect that there's going to be more stimulus coming over the summer, you know, in summer of 2021. That will mean more, you know, adoption of Bitcoin because people need that alternative as the dollar becomes devalued. More and more people will invest into Bitcoin as that hedge. You know, regulation, that will create consumer confidence. And then from a public company standpoint, from what we see and what we hear in the marketplace, you know, everybody's, you know, heard about the Coinbase potential IPO and the confidential S1. Rumor has it it's coming out to market at about 70 times revenue. We're hearing other SPACs being, you know, potential with some companies like BlockFi that are 60, 70 times, you know, revenue as well. So there will be more increased public comps in the space, and that will be a catalyst for us. That's all I had, and I'm going to answer a few questions now. If anyone has questions, feel free, drop them into the chat, you know, and I will answer every one I can. Question one, what are the one or two things investors should look for in 2021? The key to our business is asset growth, and customer growth and asset growth. I would look, you know, one of the things I would focus on as an investment is how fast we're growing the accounts, which are growing very fast. I showed you 20% month over month since inception. That drives everything we do. Customers come in, they bring assets. Not only are they making that initial deposit with us to open their account, fund, and trade, they're actually adding more and more and have continued deposits with us. Our recurring buy product, where it allows people to buy, set their schedule. They could buy daily, weekly, monthly. We're seeing an increased adoption of that recurring buy product, but we're also seeing customers keep bringing money back to the platform on a continued basis to buy more coins, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, or any of the other coins. An interesting stat is only about 25% of our trading volume comes from Bitcoin. We have 75% of our volume is other coins. So I look for, you know, one of the things for investors to look at is our account growth and customer growth and asset growth. Next question. What's the risk on deposits? How do you guarantee the principal and interest? Great question. When we loan out the coins, very much like securities lending, as I mentioned, we loan the coins to 3 or 4 big partners in the space. We do not work with lower end customers or institutional partners. We work with big guys. One of the big guys we've mentioned in the past is Galaxy Digital. We work a lot with Galaxy on the loan product, as well as BitGo. Those are our 2 biggest counterparties, which have significantly strong balance sheets, and we only work with those type of balance sheets when we do the interest product. Are there any plans to try and list on a U.S. exchange which would allow additional brokerage houses access for the clients like Robinhood? We're looking at that. We're following the Coinbase IPO very carefully. We want to see what the S1 looks like. You know, our goal is to upgrade at some point from the CSE to the Toronto Stock Exchange and then get to NASDAQ. That is part of the plan to get there and move the business to a larger exchange. You know, someone's asking about our loyalty program. We mentioned we brought a loyalty program to market about 6 weeks ago. We're working on a revised loyalty program. One of the things that's interesting about us is we have our own token that we use as loyalty and rewards to give people back as part of their trading volume, or to gain extra interest. If you hold a certain amount of tokens, you get more interest on Bitcoin, Ethereum, USDC, and we're looking to expand that, make the token the core component of how you get additional interest and get additional benefits such as debit card benefits and credit card benefits. It's all about creating customer loyalty. We believe that the customer is the most important aspect of what we're doing and what we're creating, and by focusing that customer is the most important part, we're growing our business substantially. What is the current revenue run rate? We announced in our press release on January 5th that we're on a $20 million run rate based upon December revenue run rate. We've seen ticks up in January, and we've also put out the guidance that we think we will exit December of 2021 at a $40 million run rate. My expectation, as I see the adoption of crypto and the adoption of Bitcoin, is we will exceed that number by a lot and expect to continue to grow. But we came out of December 2019 with a $20 million run rate. Investors are mostly retail. We target both. We recently hired a chief communications officer, Mike Legg. Mike's been speaking to a lot of institutional investors who have significant interest in our business. We are really one of maybe the only agency broker that is a publicly traded company in North America. There's nobody similar to us that is a publicly traded company. So we're getting tremendous interest from retail and institutional investors. Instead of buying the Bitcoin spot, they could come buy shares of Voyager. As we look to continue to grow, we take part in that. If Bitcoin's going up, more customers are buying it, more customers are adopting, greater acquisition of customers and assets. So instead of buying the spot, investors, institutional investors, as well as retail, have an opportunity to invest with us and buy the Voyager stock both in Canada on the Canadian Securities Exchange under the symbol VYGR.CN, or in the U.S. on the OTC markets as VYGVF. And the last question before my time is up. How will you position your tokenomics in the crypto space? Again, good question. Customer loyalty is one of the most important things for us. We're driving tremendous loyalty. A lot of our customers do a lot of the marketing for us. We have a tremendous rewards program where customers also take part when they refer other customers to us. We're building these token economics, as mentioned before, to give people more when they hold a certain amount of tokens. So, for example, today, if you hold 10,000 of the VGX token, you get an extra 1% interest on your USDC, your Ether, and your BTC. We're looking to expand that. We want more people to hold the token and be able to then attract and get better interest. Same thing. We'll reduce fees. Part of the program is to reduce withdrawal fees. So if you take the tokens, if you want to bring Bitcoin into your private wallet, there's a cost of the infrastructure on that, on the blockchain. To do that, we will allow you to pay with on a discounted basis with the Voyager token. So we're bringing a lot of utility because it brings loyalty. And everything about what we're trying to do is bringing loyalty to the consumer, to Voyager, especially as we look to expand this into the Canadian and European markets, and then eventually into Latin America, Africa, and Asia. We got to go step by step. There's a process, and we got to be very structured on how we do it to make sure we stay within the regulatory world. So customers are really important. The token's important to us because it builds loyalty with customers, and they get extra benefits of using our platform with that token. We're super excited about 2021. Everything we could bring to the crypto environment. I encourage everybody to look at our stock, to read more about us, to reach out. In closing, I will say, thanks for everybody for taking the time to learn more. If you have questions, feel free to email at investor.relations@investvoyager.com. We're super excited about 2021 and what we're going to bring to the marketplace. So thank you so much today for taking the time to learn more.
And that concludes this webcast. Thank you.